Welcome back to A Lot Adventures. So this year I purchased a 2-bedroom loft in Minsk, Belarus, in the center. And so I've had to learn about my property taxes and the cost of property insurance. So this is what the video is going to be about. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so first we'll deal with the property taxes, and what we'll do is I'll give you kind of an estimate of what it would be like in, say, Sacramento, California versus Minsk, Belarus. So in California, every tax is different per county. So let's go with Sacramento County. So the average, and what they do is they take the cost of the home, okay, and the average cost for a home in, say, the United States is $495,000. That's gone way up. I think it was like low 300s just like a year or 2 years ago. So it just kind of gives you an idea about the cost of homes and inflation in the United States. So what you do is you take $495,000, and the tax rate for Sacramento County is 0.82% of a percent. So that comes to $4,059 per year in taxes. And if you divide that by 12, it's right around $340 a month just for insurance. And typically what Americans do is, they get a mortgage. Most Americans can't pay cash, so they have to get a mortgage. And what they do is they add the property tax and the property insurance to the mortgage. Okay, so if, say, the mortgage is $2,000, that's $2,340 plus whatever the insurance is. So it could be around $2,600 for a mortgage that's only $2,000. So now let's do Minsk, Belarus. So in Minsk, they do it a little bit differently. They calculate it a little bit differently. They take the cost per square foot or square meter, which in Minsk, it's the highest in Belarus. It's $810, 810 rubles per square meter. Okay, and then what you do is you multiply that by the square meter of your apartment, and in my case it's around 68 square meters. So then that total would be 55,080. Okay, and in Minsk, the rate is 0.1, so it's about 8 times cheaper than, say, Sacramento County. Sacramento County is 0.82, Minsk is 0.1, and so that comes to about 56 rubles a year, which if you convert that to dollars, it's $17.50 a year. Yes, and they want you to pay it in 2 payments. So you just divide that by 2, and that's your two payments for the year. So a lot cheaper. Sacramento County in California, $4,059 for the average home for property taxes, and in Minsk, it's $17.50. It's quite unbelievable. Okay, so for property insurance, we'll start with the U.S. And I'll just kind of, I don't know the calculations exactly. I know there's a deductible and depends on how much coverage, but I don't know the formula at all. All I can do is give you what my parents pay. Their home is anywhere from $600,000 to $800,000 in Idaho, and they pay between $2,000 and $3,000 every year. I know my mom was complaining that it went up this year or last year, so she had to pay more. So she has to save just for the property taxes. She doesn't have a house payment per se, So she has to pay it at the end of the year. Okay, so she pays right around $200 to $250 every month, and if you multiply that by 12, that's anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000. Okay. Now the U.S. they have a deductible, so like if something happens to your home, the higher your deductible is, the less your premium will be, or your monthly payment. So if, say, your deductible is like $2,000, then you're going to have a lower premium. If it's around $500, it's going to be a higher premium. So that kind of how it works in the U.S. Now for Belarus, and then the U.S., it's not mandatory to have insurance, but it's very advisable to get it, because a lot of things will happen to your home, especially in the U.S. Especially fire, theft. I know in the Bay Area, the PG&E, they had a faulty electrical, and it blew up a whole neighborhood. So you should have insurance. So now for Belarus, it's not mandatory as well. I would say that most Belarusians don't have property insurance, just because most Belarusians don't have a loan, don't have a mortgage, because they were given an apartment from the old Soviet Union days, from their grandmother or something, so they don't have a payment. Plus I think most Belarusians like to pay cash, so not mandatory. So they're not, in the US you can't get a mortgage unless you get insurance, right? That mortgage company will not give you that loan unless you have insurance. Okay. Now in Belarus, it's not mandatory. Yeah. So in Belarus, property insurance is not mandatory, and let's just go over what I pay and the calculations. Not really the calculations, but I didn't know this, but they said, yeah, we can give you $70,000 in coverage, and it will cover any fire or explosion damage, water damage, natural disasters, theft, things like that. Exactly the way it works in the U.S. But there's no deductible here, so they gave me $70,000. I thought that was the norm, and then after I left with the paperwork, I guess I had some choices. You can do like $25,000, $30,000, $50,000. The agent, God bless his soul, he started at the top. So my premium is going to be the highest. There's no deductible, so for example, there's $60,000 worth of damage from, say, a fire. They will pay 100% of that, and there's no deductible whatsoever. Okay, and here's the cost. So he quoted me 1,500 rubles, right? So if you divide that by 3.2, it's right around $450. But he also said, well, for another 150 rubles, which is about $50, if anything goes wrong, I'll be your agent. I will handle everything. I go, well, what if I don't pay the $50 or the 150 rubles to have a dedicated agent like yourself? I don't know. Then it's all up to you. You have to make the calls. And I go, oh, okay, all right. So for $50, I'll go ahead and I'll pay it. And you can do that all that work for me. So anyway, so that comes to about $550 a year. Or if you break it up in monthly payments, which is what I'm doing, it's 137 rubles a month, or $43 a month. Now I know that's kind of high. I'm probably just going to do that for the 1 year, and then after next year I'm going to lower it, and probably lower it, to about half of that. So, but in the meantime, I have the highest coverage available in Belarus for my apartment. Okay, so there you go, folks. Property taxes and property insurance in the U.S. versus Belarus. If you have any questions, go ahead and send those questions down below, and I'll get back to you. Until next time, ciao.